Dumb rookie, Heine stated blatantly. Sean just replied with a carefree smile. I wouldn't be just to be rank students if I am invincible. I'm only going to say this once, so listen carefully. Heine began to explain to Sean that he's now mentally trapped in his subconscious. You'll have to leave your subconscious level and reach over to your surface of thoughts. Sean felt like an idiot under Heine's cold gaze. Alright, I'll lead the way, but you'll have to believe in me. The moment you face me with hostility, I will retreat from your mind immediately. And Sean will be left wandering in his own conscious level. Let's go. He had no choice but to trail along this man. He then hovered off the ground following Heine and kept close beside the man. As they were closing into the floating sea, Sean reached out to Heine instinctively, and before his hand reaches Heine, the man held out his hand to him. Sean drew a breath back in surprise. It was his first time to have someone hold his hand in such a way, let alone that someone is Heine. We have to go in? Heine glanced at Sean. What are you afraid of? This is your conscious. Heine reached out his other hand into the pool of ocean. His face remained indifferent, as though nothing could waver or enter his heart. Though at the same time, his coldness is what reflects his resolution. With just a tap on his chest by Heine, Sean was engulfed in the ocean. Heine's eyes never left him as Sean continued to move forward. He had a feeling that he won't be able to go further if he leaves Heine's sight. All of a sudden, he began to panic, until Heine appeared before him. Just as Sean reached the surface of the ocean, Heine held onto his shoulder and pointed to the direction above them. Head over there and you'll be awake. Thank you. Sean stared at Heine, the man's profile as seared into his mind. The latter turned away slowly, as though something was brewing within his icy gaze. Do a better job in protecting yourself next time. Heine laid back and let himself engulfed in the ocean in serenity. Heine. Sean tried to hold on to him, yet in the next second, Heine was no longer there. Meanwhile, Heine has returned to the reality. Shen Bing let out a sigh of relief when he saw him back in one piece. Heine walked over to the bed where Sean sleeps and traced his fingers over his closed eyelids. Shen Bing was stunned for a moment. Begin Heine's years of classmate in the Central Science Academy, he knows this man pretty well. He may seem cold and aloof on the outside, but he was never surrounded with the sense of oppression like he does now during his school days, though at the same time, he refuses any unnecessary contact with people and has a strong sense of territory. Shen Bing breathed a quiet sigh and tried to speak as calmly as possible. He'll wake up. Heine stood up and left the room without a word. And as the door slid open, he saw Lily standing behind the door frantically, not knowing what to do. See, Colonel, she stuttered. Heine walked past her and Lily felt a cold glance from him that caused her breath to stifle, until Shen Bing's voice drew her back. Come in, Sean's not awake yet. Meanwhile, Sean was still lingering at the intersection point of his subconscious and his mind troposphere. Once decided, he took a deep breath and left the water surface, as darkness engulfed him. Sean's eyes snapped open, only to see a whitewashed ceiling above him. His eyes slowly adjusting to the thankfully mild light. Sean. Thank goodness. You're finally awake. Lily. What happened to me? Sean tried to sit up from the bed, but a pang of dizziness forced him to lie back. You've trapped yourself in your subconscious, and now you're awake. It was the same blatant tone of voice that he heard from the aircraft, the voice of the main culprit that had him trapped in the first place. Shen Bing, Sean yelled. Yes, I'm Shen Bing. He walked over to Sean's side and nailed him down in a superior manner. But I believe you should call me Colonel Shen Bing, you dumb rookie. Excuse me? Dumb rookie? Even though Sean is just a B-ranked cadet, it may be true that he's not the most talented ones in research, but being called a dumb rookie is just beyond his tolerance. Is getting yourself trapped in your own brain not stupid enough for you then? If it wasn't for Colonel Heine Burton entered here and lead you out, Shen Bing gave Sean a tap on his forehead. I'm afraid you'll slip into eternal slumber. What? Heine Burton? As expected, you don't recall any of it, but that's normal. No one could remember anything that happened in their subconscious. Shen Bing continued with a light humph. You're lucky. If Heine hasn't arrived at the base, no one can save you. With that, Shen Bing stood up and left. Sean let out a breath he was holding and stared at the ceiling blankly. What's with this sense of emptiness in me? It felt like he had forgotten something really important, but every time he tried to recall it, nothing seems to form in his mind. It's true, you know, about Colonel Burton. Lily broke the silence. Sean sat up and was hit with a pang of dizziness once more. God. I can't recall anything. His brain was all messed up again. Why would Heine Burton save him? He thought he wanted him dead instead? When Shen Bing left the room, he saw Heine leaning against the wall as though he was waiting for something. However, from Shen Bing's years of acquaintances with this man, he knows, this man never waits. Is that dumb rookie still alive? Shenbing answered with a laugh, "Stop calling him that. It's gonna turn into his nickname. And I'm sorry that you had to enter someone's subconscious again. A person's subconscious can be filled with hostility, filth and cruelty despite how decent they may seem in reality. I'm sorry you had to go through all that again, and I'm glad that you're back safely." Heine just shrugged off his apology and turned to walk away. "You don't need to apologize. His brain is not as bad as you think," Shenbing gaped. Oh my gosh, to actually hear arch compliment coming out from Heine that fella's mouth. I have a sudden urge to crack that rookie's brain up to have a look what's inside. "Hey, Heine," Heine stopped in his tracks. This was the greatest tolerance he could give to his old friend. "What did you see in his brain? The terminal shows that you almost lost control before you leave his mind." Shenbing, "If I were to die one day, I hope his world would be my deathbed." With that, he left. Shenbing's eyes widened in astonishment. He was on the verge of losing control in excitement before he calmed himself down with a finger on his temple. "It seems that I've found out something incredible," he mumbled to himself. While he was on his way back to the control center, he was alerted by one of the officers, notifying him that one of the plane that went missing, A-102, is now approaching their base. The liaison officer has attempted to get in contact with the pilot but to no avail. Knowing that, Shenbing gave immediately order to close all entrances and all areas stay vigilant, as he rushed over to the control room. At the same time, the emergency light in Sean's room went off as the warning announcement replayed itself throughout the whole area. "Third level emergency. Third level emergency. All departments please stay alert." Sean sat up and looked at Lily. "What's going on?" "I don't know. But it's best for us to stay here, not that we can do anything as a cadet." Meanwhile, on the holographic screen in the control room, an aircraft is zooming towards the closed entrance of Base 14. "Shoot it down," Shenbing commanded. The liaison officer stared at him in disbelief. "But Colonel, that's our aircraft. If the pilot is our ally, why didn't he reply to our call?" Still, the aircraft was getting closer, and without further hesitation, Shenbing gave direct orders to the shooting platform. Then there was a blast. A guided missile was fired, chasing behind its target closely. The aircraft turned to swirl around in mid-air, trying to get rid of the missile railing behind. "What are you hesitating? They did not even attempt to contact us when they're in this state. Do still insist that they are allies." Shenbing bellowed at the liaison officer. The latter finally came to his senses. A plane that has lost contact for more than 72 hours is, with high possibility, being hijacked by the tides, and they are now trying to exploit the aircraft to enter the base. Attention to all platforms. Shoot the aircraft down at all cost. Another 2 missiles were fired from 2 platforms. Without more possible struggle, the aircraft hit and there was a blast. Just before Shenbing could sigh in relief, a small missile shot out from the burning plane, towards the base. Walls crumbled and the ceiling collapsed as the secretarial officer covered Shenbing under himself. The missile continued drilling deeper into the depth of the base. Shenbing staggered to stand. Before he could grasp hold of the whole situation, the floor was flipped over by some sort of force and began crumbling as well. "Colonel, it's a spiral missile." There was no time to lose. Immediately, Shenbing gave order to determine the level of destruction caused in the base. All areas above ground level are destroyed. But fortunately, the underground areas have been consolidated last year, hence no damage done on the lower grounds. All ground level departments retreat from their nearest exit to the underground. Release first grade emergency. The room Sean is in was flipped upside down. Lily clung to him when the room overturned. They suffered a sudden cascade from midair, and with Lily's weight as an added pressure that landed on him as he falls, Sean felt his organs were almost squashed in bits. The announcement came a second after. "Attention to all ground level departments. Evacuate to the underground level from your nearest exit immediately." The announcement continues to repeat itself as Sean and Lily went frozen. "What's going on?" Lily stood and went for the door before Sean stopped her with a shout, "Don't." Lily's hand paused and turned to look at Sean. A sudden chill struck his heart. "It's spiral missile. This situation can only be caused by that," Sean stated solemnly. Lily was terror-stricken. A spiral missile does not go off when it hits its target. Instead, it will drill for about 10 meters in before exploding with a formidable force. Understanding the threat this could bring to the people living in underground city, the researchers had came up with a uniquely strengthened alloy that are used to build, not only Charles and Hole, but also amongst all research bases above the ground, to prevent the destruction that could be made by the spiral missile. Nevertheless, the damage it does to the upper ground levels are still devastating. Sean had already realized the hazardous situation they are in and alerted Lily that they should leave for the evacuation passageway as soon as possible. Lily had fell into panic. This is the enemy's plan. All evacuation tunnels are designated with 2 hatches. The first hatch is controllable by us, but the second hatch is controlled from the other side. If the enemy managed to trail behind us when we entered the first hatch, the person from the other side would never unlock the hatch for us, in order to stop the enemies from entering the underground base. And when that happens, death is our only end. This can't be. Is it the tides? There's high possibility that the walls outside this door have been burst apart. If so, we have lost the barrier that shields us from the outside world. Who do you think our primary foe would be? Lily stumbled a few steps back from the door and flopped onto the floor, devastated. It's zombies. Do we have terminal here? Sean attempted to get off the bed but plopped down from imbalance. Even if there is, it's probably disconnected. Lily held down her growing fear and helped Sean off the ground. I can get into the system as long as we found the correct wireless signal. We have to find out what's the situation out there. Our room is still intact. I believe we're not located at the central of destruction. Once they found the terminal, Sean equipped the device without second thought. After surfing through thousands of data in search for a compatible frequency, Sean finally got into the system. The surveillance camera at the passageway is still operating. With that said, the situation at the other side of the door was portrayed on the wall. Lily gasped at the scene. The passage was flooded with zombies, crawling on floor and trudging on fallen walls. Those who did not make it to the evacuation tunnel had fallen to their prey. They struggled in terror but to no avail. Blood splattered accompanied by a blood-curdling shriek. The sight was menacing and revolting. Lily covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. If Sean hadn't stopped her, she would have ended up like those people. Not knowing what to do, she called on Sean for help in desperation. We release a SOS signal. If we're lucky, perhaps someone will be here to save us. Which means, if we're out of luck, we are going to die here? Sean gave her a wry smile. Lily, I've been meaning to tell you. What is it? You're the sexiest woman I've ever seen, Sean said in awful earnesty, as though those are his last words. That's the best compliment I've heard in the worst timing, Lily replied with a wry laugh. I've sent out the SOS signal, all we can do now, is pray. Who else could save us at this point? Eyes closed, Sean sighed, perhaps. Only one person could save us now. Meanwhile, all members within the control center had evacuated to the lower grounds immediately after the explode. Heine and his unit escorted Shen Bing and his men all the way to the evacuation tunnel. The moment Shen Bing entered the safe zone, Heine stopped in his tracks. Heine! Get in here, quickly! Shen Bing stared at him in perplexity. I've got something to do. What is it? Reeve and Mark were about to rush back out but Heine held them off, placing a leg on Mark's chest. His intention was clear and stern. We forgot about the dumb rookie. Heine raised his arm, a SOS message from Sean was shown on his communication device. Wait. Colonel. Before Mark could move forward, Heine kicked him back in, and those who stood behind Mark stumbled to the ground like dominoes. The tunnel door slid close. Damn it, Heine. Get back here. Shen Bing tried to open the door but it was locked tight. The secretarial officer and liaison officer held him back from behind. Colonel. You're our commander. You mustn't go out there. Mark and Reeve was banging at the door but it won't even budge. Damn it. Open the door. Heine turned around and faced the approaching zombies coldly. He raised his blade, and split the world into half. Every passing minute is tormenting to Sean and Lily. Lily paced around the room restlessly. She was worried that even if there really is someone that came to their rescue, the continuing increasing zombies remains a problem for them to break their way to the evacuation passageway. We have to close off all unneeded passage, and sealed off the path that we will be passing through. Is that possible? I'll give it a try. Though I'm afraid some passages can no longer be close off. Another hour passed, yet them remained trapped. Lily was starting to get anxious as Sean continued swapping through the surveillance screens of the passageways. Suddenly, he saw a familiar figure appeared in one of the screen, his blade slashing among the walking dead remorselessly. His blade moving swiftly, slicing several in one swing, yet the zombies were swarming in endlessly. Without hesitance, Sean analyzed the base ground level blueprint, hacked into the hatch system and closed off all possible hatches aside from the ones that lead to their room. Eventually, the zombies decreased and Heine shifted his gaze to the surveillance camera. Lily, get ready, he's here. Sean came to the door and pressed open. Sean! Lily shrieked in bewilderment. A zombie squeezed its head through the opening, its mouth wide opened, but in the next second, its head fell off its neck and onto the ground. The sight before Sean was then replaced with a pair of icy blue eyes, cold yet beautiful. "Let's go, dumb rookie," his voice was cool and soothing. The man before him is as elegant as always. Without warning, he pulled Sean into his arms and kicked off an approaching zombie. The embrace was momentary, yet Sean finds it strangely nostalgic. "Hurry up." Sean turned back and held on to Lily's wrist. "She has to come with us," he stated solemnly. Lily could hardly stand on her feet as she stared at the nearing zombies. Heine cold gaze laid on Lily. "You have to learn to let go. Colonel, would you let go off your comrade?" There was no more time to lose as more zombies were closing into them. Heine turned around briskly and said, "Do whatever I tell you to. I'll kill whoever that drags me down myself." A command that is as expected from Heine Burton, but Sean is truly grateful for it. As another swarm of zombies neared them, Lily backed off in fear. Nevertheless, Sean forced her to choose between and wait for death or run for her life. Meanwhile, Heine unsheathed his blade. "Run." Sean pulled Lily with him and ran, following close behind Heine. Blood splattered and heads rolled across their feet as they continued to dart forward. When they neared a 90-degree turning point, Heine stopped abruptly and pressed Sean onto the wall, as Lily stumbled onto the ground. Heine dragged her up and quieted her with a sharp gaze while they laid flat against the wall. Heine shielded Sean with one arm, with his side profile only an inch away from Sean's. Sean's heart was pounding. He has a strong urge to shift closer but did not dare to. Something was approaching from the other corner. In split seconds, Heine unsheathed his blade and then a flash, 4 zombies plopped to the ground, lifeless. "Run," Heine ordered, and Sean dragged Lily up and darted off, tailed by another swarm of zombies. Fatigue started to kick in on Sean and Lily from the ceaseless running. Lily was at her limits and so was Sean. His heart was pounding so hard, his breath begins to stifle, but he continued to push his limits, for fear he would drag Heine down. He knows this man would never slow down his pace for them. And as they reach another turning point, Heine turned back suddenly and lifted Sean onto his shoulder. "Heine, I can't take both of you at the same time." The man's voice was cold and ruthless, and Sean could see the pleading gaze from Lily. "Don't leave me behind, please don't," Heine continued, breaking through their path swiftly despite being single-handed. "Heine, put me down." Heine remained unfazed. "I said put me down. I'll stay with Lily and you can still make it to the evacuation tunnel." Abruptly, Sean was thrown to the ground and nearly had a concussion as his head hit the ground. He could sense the blaring anger emitting from Heine. The man looked down at him in contempt. "Are you sure you want to stay?" Sean gulped, heart racing. It seems as though his whole life was condensed into the choice at this moment. His voice was surprisingly clear. "I'm sure. In fact, you've wanted to kill me ever since that incident, haven't you? I can take you with me." His answer was totally out of Sean's prediction. He saw a hint of anguish in Heine's gaze. "This man is hurt. I know, but I'm just to be ranked cadet. I understand that my value is not worthy of having you endangering your life. Besides, I'm a man. A man can die of fear but never of guilt." Sean stood up and Heine clutched his wrist. "You can't save everyone, and there's no need to sacrifice yourself for someone unimportant." It's impossible for Heine to save both of them at the same time, and he would not drag him down. "Colonel, you're the one who told me. You've got to learn to let go." Sean gave Heine a half smile, and he could see something building up in the man's eyes. There was a momentary distray, and Sean freed himself from Heine's grip. The latter stood still, his hand remained outreached. He knows, deep within his heart, that the actual reason for himself to stay is because he does not wish to have his own weakness to hold this powerful man, Heine Burton,